guys, so today I am doing my bookshelf tour video for 2016 and are you guys ready? Because it has changed a lot since the last time I did one of these videos. Not only has my entire library swapped twice now, it has also expanded in size, so to not have this as like a really long video, I'm only going to do my main shelves. So the way that I organise my books is that I do it alphabetical order by author's last name, and I have it all sorted out into red books and TBR books, and also a couple of favourite shelves, which is not in this room. This main one behind me is my biggest shelf. This is all red books, and then over here we have the rest of my red books, and this is my TBR. I'm just going to jump straight in, and I will start with all my red books on this shelf. Firstly, we have Love Rosie, also known as Where Rainbows End by Cecilia Ahern, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, The Impossible Knife of Memory by Laurie House Anderson, Let's Get Lost by A.D. Alced, The Summoning by Kelly Armstrong, 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and Who is Excited for Glass Sword, Of Poseidon, Of Neptune, and Of Triton by Anna Banks, Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, and also Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, The Rain and The Storm by Virginia Bergen, Zack and Mia by AJ Betts, one of my all-time favourite series, Ashes, Shadows, and Monsters by Ilsa J. Bick, Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Magistrum series, The Coldest Girl in Coaltown by Holly Black, Anti-Goddess by Kendare Blake, Anna Dressed in Blood, Girl of Nightmares, and my hardcover copy of it by Kendare Blake, The Boy in Striped Pajamas by John Boyne, The Darkest Minds, Never Fade, In the Afterlife by Alexandra Bracken, A Great and Terrible Beauty, Rebel Angels, and The Sweet Far Thing by Libba Bray, World War Z by Max Brooks, the first book in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, I'm not sure where the rest of the series has gone, but Glass Houses and Lord of Misrule by Rachel Caine, and that is from the Morganville Vampire series. Eve, Once, and I don't know where most of my hardcovers dust jackets have gone. And Rise by Anna Carey, All Fall Down by Ali Carter, which is part of the Embassy Row series, Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue by Kristen Cashaw, The Selection Stories, The Selection, The Elite, The One, and The Air by KIERA Cass, Bird by Crystal Chan, which you guys should all totally read, The Killing Woods by Lucy Christopher, Stolen by Lucy Christopher, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess, which is the Infernal Device trilogy by Cassandra Clare, City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire, which makes up the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, and Maureen Johnson, The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare and Joshua Lewis, Spirit and Dust by Rosemary Clement Moore. This is the second book in the Goodnight Family series. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. This edition has been dropped in the bath. And Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, Atlantia by Ali Condie, Matched, Crossed, and Reached by Ali Condie, Spark by Rachel Craw, Wolfpack by Melissa De La Cruz, The Kill Order, The Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, and The Death Cure by James Dashner, A Beautiful Dark, A Fractured Light, A Radiant Sky by Jocelyn Davies, Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delaria, Wither, Fever, and Sever by Lauren DiStefano, and that is the Chemical Garden trilogy, William Shakespeare's The Jedi Doth Return and The Empire Striketh Back by Ian Dosha, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Dewar, Deep Blue, and Rogue Wave by Jennifer Donnelly, and that is the Waterfire saga, High Stakes and Hunted by Alex Duval, and that is the Vampire Beach series, Angel Fall, World After, and End of Days by Suzanne E., The Jewel by Amy Ewing, Risk by Fleur Ferris, Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick, Hush Hush, Silence, Crescendo, and Finale by Becca Fitzpatrick, My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick, The Telling, The Laden, Immortal Combat by Leah Giranto, and this is the Disharmony series. Lockdown and Solitary by Alexander Gordon Smith, and this is the first 2 books in the Escape from Furnace series. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. If I Stay and Where She Went by Gail Foreman. Masquerade by Kylie Fornasia. The Accident Season by Maura Fowley Doyle. The Hunt, The Prey, and The Trap by Andrew Fukuda. Thyla by Kate Gordon. Eve and Adam by Michelle Grant and Catherine Applegate. Feed by Myra Grant. The Edge of Nowhere by Elizabeth George. Spellcaster and Steadfast by Claudia Gray. 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. An Abundance of Catherines. Paper Towns, The Fault in Our Stars, and Looking for Alaska by John Green. Will Grayson by John Green and David Leviathan. Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson and Lauren Miracle. Half Bad and Half Wild by Sally Green. Are You Seeing Me Now by Darren Groth. To All the Boys I've Loved Before. And P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. Unearthly, Hallowed, and Boundless by Cynthia Hand. The Last Time We Say Goodbye by Cynthia Hand. Rebel Bell by Rachel Hawkins. The Enemy, The Dead, The Fear, The Sacrifice, The Fallen, and The Hunted by Charlie Higson, which is an amazing series. Switched, Torn, and Ascend by Amanda Hocking, and that is the Tyrell trilogy. Frostfire and Ice Kissed by Amanda Hocking, and this is a spin-off series from the Tyrell series. Lullaby, Wake, Tidal, and Elegy by Amanda Hocking, and this is the Water Song series. The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, The Evolution of Mara Dyer, and The Retribution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. Confess by Colleen Hoover, Tricks by Ellen Hopkins, Hereafter, Arise, and Elegy by Tara Hudson. Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. The Next Together by Lauren E. James. Tandem by Anna Jarzab. Trick by Natalia Jasta. Touch by Natalia Jasta. Talon and Rogue by Julie Kakagawa. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. And The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Beautiful Creatures by Kemi Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Lifespan of Starlight by Thalia Kalkip-Sakis. Teardrop by Lauren Kate. The Betrayal of Natalie Hargrove by Lauren Kate. Fallen in Love by Lauren Kate, and I have no idea what the dust jacket for that one is either. Fallen, Torment, Passion, and Rapture by Lauren Kate. These Broken Stars, and This Shattered World by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, and that is the first 2 books in the Starbound trilogy. The Adventures of Cinnamon Girl by Melissa Keel. Life in Outer Space by Melissa Keel. Read Me Like a Book by Liz Kessler. Origin, Kalahari, and Vitro by Jessica Khoury. Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. The Cinderella Moment by Jennifer Closter. Every Day by David Levithan. The Lover's Dictionary by David Levithan. Ash by Melinda Lowe. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I Am Number 4. The Power of 6. The Rise of 9. The Fall of 5. The Revenge of 7. And The Fate of 10 by Pittacus Law. The Lost Files, Hidden Enemy, and The Legacies by Pittacus Law. The Giver by Lois Lowry. Legend, Prodigy, and Champion by Mary Lou. The Young Elites by Mary Lou. Shatter Me, Unravel Me, Ignite Me, and Unite Me by Tahera Marfi. On the Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchetta. The first 2 books in the Tomorrow series by John Marsden. Tomorrow When the War Began and The Dead of the Night. Destroying Avalon, In Ecstasy, Crashing Down, and Beautiful Monster by Kate McCaffrey. Vampire Academy, Frostbite, Shadow Kiss, Blood Promise, Spirit Bound, and Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead. Bloodlines, The Golden Lily, The Indigo Spell, The Fiery Heart, Silver Shadows, and 2 copies of The Ruby Circle by Rochelle Mead. 2 copies of Soundless by Rochelle Mead. Game Board of the Gods, and The Immortal Crown by Rochelle Mead. My very first edition of Twilight, and my box set of Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, and The Short Second Life of Britannia by Stephanie Meyer. The Director's Notebook to Twilight, Fairest, Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter by Marissa Meyer, and I just finished the series yesterday and I absolutely adored it. My hardcover edition of The Night Circus. My black and white with red trim pages copies of The Night Circus, and my last edition of The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Side Effects May Vary by Julie Murphy. Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, Monsters of Men. And then in hardcover, The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness. The Crane Wife by Patrick Ness. The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, and my dog was chewing this copy up a little bit. All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Sabriel, Abhorsen, and Lyriel. Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. Delirium, Pandemonium and Requiem by Lauren Oliver, Solitaire by Alice Oseman, Captive Prince, and Prince's Gambit by C.S. Packet, and this is another great series. The Fearless by Emma Pass, Acid by Emma Pass, The Originals by Kat Patrick, Red Moon by Benjamin Percy, Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. My True Love Gave to Me, which is edited by Stephanie Perkins, but with authors including Holly Black, Ali Carter, Matt De La Pena, Gail Foreman, Jenny Hahn, David Levithan, Kelly Link, Myra McIntyre, Stephanie Perkins, Rainbow Rowell, Lani Taylor, and Kirsten White. This Book Loves You by PewDiePie, Change of Heart by Jodie Picoult, The Prophet's Daughter by Kilea Pillon, Divided We Fall, and Burning Nation by Trent Reedy. Then we have a bunch of my graphic novels, including Blue is the Warmest Colour by Julie Marrow, Fables, Legends in Exile, Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. This is Volume 1, One Weird Trick, and Volume 2, Two Worlds, One Cop. Then we have The Wicked and the Divine, the first act by Gillian McElvey and Wilson Cowles, and also Fandemonium. Then we have the first 5 volumes of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is a wonderful graphic novel series for anyone who wants to start reading graphic novels. I definitely recommend Saga. Defiance by C.J. Redwine, Deliverance by C.J. Redwine, and Deception by C.J. Redwine. Across the Universe by Beth Revis, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children and Hollow City by Ransom Riggs. Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer featuring my ARC edition and the actual edition by Rick Rawdon. The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian by Rick Rawdon, and those 5 are part of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. The Lost Hero, The Son of Neptune, The House of Hades, and The Blood of Olympus, which are the books from the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Rawdon, and you have my paperback copy and my hardcover copy. Percy Jackson and the Greek Gods by Rick Rawdon. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Ultimate Guide. Revolution 19 by Greg Rosenblum. 4. Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant by Veronica Roth. Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. A special fan art edition of Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. And The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. Unspeakable by Abby Rushton. The Winner's Curse. And The Winner's Crime by Maria Rutkusky. The Forest of Hands and Teeth. The Dead, Tossed Waves, The Dark and Hollow Places by Carrie Ryan. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Elias Sayens. The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. The Collector by Victoria Scott. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and this involves the greatest character in the world, Lila Bard. The Ghosts of Heaven by Marcus Sedgwick. The Invention of Hugo Carbet. Wonderstruck and the Marvels by Brian Selznick. Between Shades of Grey by Rhoda Sepidis. The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Disruption and Corruption by Jessica Shrivington. Winger by Andrew Smith. The Vampire Diaries by L.J. Smith. The Fury and the Dark Reunion. Poison Study, Magic Study, Fire Study, and Shadow Study by Maria V. Snyder. The Water Wars by Cameron Stratcher. Shiver, Linger, and Forever by Maggie Stiefvater. Lament by Maggie Stiefvater. The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. And my personal favourite book, The Scorpio Racers by Maggie Stiefvater. S by J.J. Abrams. What We Left Behind by Robin Talley. Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of God and Monsters by Lani Taylor. Slated, Fractured, and Shattered by Terry Terry. Reboot and Rebel by Amy Tintera. My first edition of The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And my box set of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. Johnny Be Good by Paige Toon. Lucy in the Sky by Paige Toon. We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallach. In Between Days by Vicky Wakefield. Uglies, Pretties and Specials by Scott Westerfeld. Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. Kiss by Jacqueline Wilson. The Monstrumologist, The Isle of Blood, and The Curse of the Wendigo by Rick Yancey. The Fifth Wave and The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey, but I don't know where the first book has disappeared to. The Remedy, The Program, and The Treatment by Suzanne Young. And It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman. The Fox and the Star by Coralie Bickford Smith. Jara Ronsno, which I know I'm pronouncing wrong. This book was a gift given to me by Agnes from Tumblr, and it is photos of her town that she lives in, taken by her father. The Lou and All the Paintings by Eric Lesling and Vincent Pomerody. So this is my Sarah J Maas shrine shelf. So I have my hardcover copy of Throne of Glass, my signed copy of The Assassin's Blade, my signed copy of Throne of Glass, my signed copy of Crown of Midnight, my signed copy of Air of Fire, and my signed copy of Queen of Shadows. Then I also have a second copy of Queen of Shadows and Crown of Midnight. And then I have A Court of Thorn and Roses, which is my signed edition, and then my other copy of A Court of Thorn and Roses. And this is my Marcus Zuzak shelf, which I love very dearly. So I have my large hardcover of The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, which is signed, the German edition of The Book Thief, the exclusive collector's edition of The Book Thief, my first ever copy of The Book Thief, another edition, and my last edition of The Book Thief. I'm also very excited because there is going to be the 10th anniversary edition of The Book Thief coming out in less than 60 days. So I have one edition of I Am the Messenger, my second edition of I Am the Messenger, and my original edition of The Messenger, and then Marcus Zuzak's first series, Underdogs, which contains The Underdog, Fighting Reuben Wolf, and Getting the Girl. So this is my Harry Potter shelf. I have 2 editions of the series. This is my original edition that is missing a few books, but I also have double of some. So this is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and then 2 copies of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Next to it we have the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, my new edition of the books, and also Harry Potter and the Creature Vault. Then I also have merchandise including Voldemort's wand, Hermione's time turner, Harry Potter's glasses, a Slytherin notebook, a Slytherin keychain, and this pretty cool bookmark that Mary the Librarian made for me last year. The Divine Comedy by Dante, The Foundation Trilogy by Isaac Asimov, Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, and Agnes Grey by the Bronte sisters, The Art of War, 5 novels by Charles Dickens, Wicked by Gregory Maguire, Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, the 7 novels of Jane Austen, Selected Writings by Abraham Lincoln, The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice, A Holy Bible, King James Version, Jules Verne, 7 novels, The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, The Complete Works of William Shakespeare, Ernest Hemingway, A Christmas Carol and Other Stories by Charles Dickens, Huckleberry Finn and Other Novels by Mark Twain, Fairy Tales from Around the World by Andrew Lang, The Arabian Nights, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, The Star Wars Trilogy, The Republic and Other Dialogues, The Complete Fiction by H.P. Lovecraft, The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, Narnia by C.S. Lewis, Dune by Frank Herbert, Little House by Laura Ingalls Wilder, John Carter of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs, Grey's Anatomy by Henry Gray FRS, A Treasury of Classic Poetry, Classic Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen, The Complete Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. We have taken a small trip into my bedroom where I have my 2 floating bookshelves. You have Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, and The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. And then on this side you have Anna and the French Kiss in hardcover, More Than This by Patrick Ness, Landline by Rainbow Rowell, and The Colorless Tezuka Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage by Haruki Murakami, and I know I pronounced that wrong and I apologize. Now I have my favourites / special edition books. So here is my Game of Thrones shelf, including The World of Ice and Fire, my cloth bound of A Game of Thrones, and my entire series from A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords Part 1, and A Storm of Swords Part 2, A Feast for Crows, and A Dance of Dragons Part 1, and A Dance of Dragons Part 2, plus my Inside HBO's Game of Thrones Seasons 3 and 4. Then I also have my pop figurines of Daenerys and her dragon, and also the House Stark on this little corner. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, Looking for Alaska by John Green, the collector's edition of Looking for Alaska and Paper Towns, Eragon by Christopher Paolini, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, The Body Electric by Beth Revis, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, from an original idea by Siobhan Dowd, Tinder by Sally Gardner, His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton, Sinner by Maggie Stiefvater, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, The Maze Runner and The Scorched House by James Dashner, The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, The Poetical Works of Longfellow. This book is from June 26, 1877, and it is the oldest book that I own. Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Then you have Voyager, Dragonfly and Amber, Drums of Autumn, The Fiery Cross, An Echo in the Bone and A Breath of Snow and Ashes. Warhorse by Michael Moore Perugo. And most importantly, Tilly Booth's Book of Love, made by Agnes, who is my best friend that I met through Tumblr, and she did a book for me for my birthday, and it is one of the most amazing things that I've ever received in my entire life. And so moving on to all my TBR books now that have no organisation whatsoever. The Rose Society by Mary Lou. Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs. Halo, Heaven and Hades by Alexandra Adornetto. Pride, Prejudice and Zombies, Dreadfully Ever After, and Dawn of the Dreadfuls by Steve Hockensmith. The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Addy. Ink and Bone by Rachel Caine. Looking for Alibrandi by Melina Marchetta. A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. Catalyst by Laurie House Anderson. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. The Fall by Adrian Chong. Coraline and Other Stories, and Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Once We Were by Kat Zhang. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson. The Dream Thieves and Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. Cooper Bartholomew is Dead by Rebecca James. The Archive by Victoria Schwab. Thirst by Lizzie Wilcock. Stress Head by Elaine Webster. The Astrologer's Daughter by Rebecca Lim. Under a Painted Sky by Stacey Lee. Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. The Flywheel by Erin Go. Hidden by Marianne Curley. Written in Red by Anne Bishop. The Universe vs. Alex Woods by Gavin Extance. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. The Diviners by Libba Bray. Night Owls by Jen Bennett. Happily Ever After by KIERA Cass. Standoff by Andrew Smith. Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Sandman by Neil Gaiman. The Watchmaker on Filgary Street by Natasha Pulley. Infinity by Sherilyn Kenyon. True Fire by Gary Meehan. The Host by Stephanie Meyer. Now, I'm not sure how the series goes, but The Farm, The Vault and the Lair by Emily McKay. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. Ever True and Everneath by Brody Ashton. The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafon. Althea and Oliver by Christina Moracho. Love Hurts by Mallory Blackman, also including authors like Laurel Dockrell, Lauren Miracle, E. Lockhart, David Levithan, Patrick Ness, Philip Pullman, Katherine Johnson, Gail Foreman, Lauren Kate, Susie Day, Marcus Zuzak, Maureen Johnson, James Dawson, and Jenny Downham. Kissing in America by Margot Rabb. Dark Fever by Karen Mary Moaning. The Ire Affair by Jasper Ford. State of Grace by Hilary Badger. Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. The Copper Gauntlet, second book in the Magistrum series by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. Rain by Amanda Sun. The Lux by Anna Goberson. The Last Leaves Falling by Sarah Benwell. Lottery Boy by Michael Byrne. A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. Bloodlines and Initiation by Alex Duvall. The Age of Miracles by Karen Thompson Walker. Noughts and Crosses, Knife Edge, Checkmate and Double Cross by Mallory Blackman. Me, Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. In the Skin of a Monster by Catherine Barker. Stray by Rachel Craw. I Am Pilgrim by Terry Hayes. Magonia by Maria Devana Headley. Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armont. Saving Francesca by Melina Marchetta. Crystal Kingdom by Amanda Hocking. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Winter Girls by Laurie House Anderson. Lullabies by Lang Liav. Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. On the Fence by Casey West. The Dark World by Cara Lynn Schultz. Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter. The Geography of You and Me by Jennifer E. Smith. Out of the Easy by Ruta Sepetys. The Final Empire Mistborn Book 1, Brandon Sanderson. The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. The Running Man by Michael Gerard Bora. Lips Touch by Lani Taylor. The Shadow Girl by John Larkin. Hate List by Jennifer Brown. Not If I See You First by Eric Lindstrom. The White Rose by Amy Ewing. Unbecoming by Jenny Downham. Unforgiven by Lauren Kate. The First Third by Will Kostakis. Between the Lives, Jessica Shervington. Split Second by Casey West. Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Gordon. Tether by Anna Jarzab. Username Edie by Joe Sugg. The Game of Lives by James Dashner. The Crash of Hennington by Patrick Ness. Memoirs of Geisha by Arthur Golden. Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. The Queen of Teeling and The Invasion of the Teeling by Erica Johansson. 10,000 Skies Above You by Claudia Gray. Pieces of Sky by Trinity Doyle. Their Fractured Life by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Ruby Red by Kirsten Gear. Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. The entire Ober Newton series, starting with Ober Newton and The Red Queen by Isabel Carmody. The School for Good and Evil, The Last Ever After by Soman Chainani. For some reason I have the last book in the series but no other book. Dark Tide by Jennifer Donnelly. Cleopatra's Shadows by Emily Holman. Playing with Fire by Tess Gerritsen. The Masked Truth by Kelly Armstrong. Illumine by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And lastly, An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Taher. Okay, so that is all of my books, and that took me like hours upon hours to film all of them. You may have noticed that I have a few copies of some books, and that is because I either love them so much that I have to have every single edition that is available, or my family is also reading the same books and they are very, very impatient people and they can't stand to wait for one person to read another. So that is why I have duplicates of like Harry Potter and some of the Bloodlines books, is because I have readers in my family besides myself too, which is good. I did not show you all of my TBR books, mostly because as I was halfway through it I realised there are so many to do and that this video already felt like it was going to take forever, so I thought that I would spare you a few books that went at the top of my TBR. So the ones that I showed you are ones that I'm really interested in reading and I can't wait to get around to. So if any of the books that were on my TBR that you really loved, send me a message so I can kind of put it somewhere higher on my list of books to read. Thank you guys for watching, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it and that I should be back next year. We're doing another bookshelf tour video. But for now, these are all the books that I have claimed in 2015, and I'm pretty sure it's going to at least double in size by the end of 2016. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!
Thank you guys.